Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome all viewers. Today we're going to be taking a look at this video that Mohammed Hijab posted entitled, Sajid Backstabs Again, Mohammed Hijab Responds. Now this video was not posted to Mohammed Hijab's main YouTube channel, but rather it was posted on a YouTube channel called SP Files, which has 161 videos, and it says that this channel will unveil the extremism of Salafi publications and its affiliates. So here we have an entire channel filled with videos from both Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah, where they are refuting Muslims. They are making videos against other Muslims. In fact, that is the entire purpose of this channel. But before moving on, let's talk a little bit about Salafi publications. For those of you who aren't familiar with the history, Salafi publications is a group that rose to prominence a few decades ago, where they took advantage of the fact that many people in the West lack knowledge of Islam. By and large, we do not have access to true scholars of Islam. We don't know the Arabic language. Yet as Muslims, we depend heavily on scholars to tell us what's haram, what's halal, to teach us the Quran and Sunnah. So what the brothers at Salafi publications did is they became the intermediaries between the lay Muslim in the West and the scholars of the Muslim world. This gave them great power and responsibility. And as Muslims, we must speak the truth, whether it is for or against us. So we must admit that Salafi publications, they did many good things. However, unfortunately, some of those people who were given positions of power within the Salafi publications community were not as knowledgeable as they presented themselves. And they fell into some serious mistakes that caused a lot of issues. And from the biggest mistakes that some of them fell into was falsely labeling other Muslims as innovators, falsely accusing other Muslims of being deviants. And this leads me to the second reason why these people were able to gain so much control and influence. And that is the bullying and peer pressure tactics that they used to get their way and to maintain control. So for example, if somebody disagreed with them, if somebody didn't fall in line with their orders, then they would be boycotted. And this is something that I experienced myself when I was in Medina. As soon as I arrived in Medina, there were people who came from communities where such people still had a strong influence, and they would put pressure on us students. Don't sit with those people, sit with these people. Don't do that, you need to do this. And if you don't, we're going to boycott you. Now, unfortunately, there are some students who buckled to the peer pressure. They stayed with that group, they would do anything that that group told them to do. And they would boycott anybody who didn't fall in line. However, thankfully, for those of us who did not succumb to the peer pressure, even though it was difficult not to, it's not fun being boycotted by these people. It's not fun not having them give you salams. However, many of us, after actually seeking knowledge and sitting with scholars and learning our religion, we were able to see for ourselves the issues within the Salafi publications community. Again, that's not to say that they didn't have any good with them. However, after seeking knowledge, we were no longer dependent upon them. In fact, many students studied more, became more knowledgeable than those who are still to this day in charge of the S-Pubs group. And therefore, they're not nearly as powerful or influential as they once were. But that brings me to Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah. Now that we know a bit of the history of S-Pubs, if we analyze these two individuals, then we'll find that the tactics that they use are ironically similar to the tactics that they criticize S-Pubs for. We mentioned that S-Pubs became popular initially due to our lack of scholarship in the West. So they were presented as knowledgeable figures who should be giving da'wah. And once they rose to prominence, they maintained that power, in many cases, through peer pressure and bullying. Now, if we look at Mohammed Hijab, how did he rise to prominence? He did so by presenting himself as an intellectual who should be giving da'wah in the West. And just as we said Salafi publications had some good with them, there's no doubt that Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah both have some good with them. Mohammed Hijab is a skilled debater. He emanates confidence. He has a stellar vocabulary. His word choice and the way that he uses words, it will leave an audience impressed. Therefore, he had some huge debates against non-Muslims that rallied all of the Muslim community behind him. Then now we see Mohammed Hijab, he has a level of influence and notoriety that is perhaps even greater than S-Pubs ever had. And the most prominent of Mohammed Hijab's students is no doubt Ali Dawah. Between the two of them, we're talking over 1 million subscribers on YouTube alone. But that leads to the second point. The first step is convincing the people in the West that they should be learning from you and that you should be the one giving da'wah. The second step is bullying and peer pressure. Threaten anyone that dare publicly disagree with you. And I don't want to belittle a lot of the fitna that was caused by S-pubs boycotting people. It unfortunately caused countless problems amongst the Muslims. However, I personally have never seen anyone from S-pubs verbally attack and threaten other Muslims the way that Mohammed Hijab has. In fact, I've never seen anyone who publicly claims to represent Islam be as vile or publicly disrespectful as he has. And if you think I'm exaggerating, I'm just going to play a very short clip from just one video so that you understand my point.
This is disgusting behavior from a freak. You are a freak, bro. Bro, everyone can see through you right now. You're a clout-chasing monster. How dare you, as a hypocrite that you are, and I mean that in a lughawi way, not a istilahi way, just in case you and your friends come and say, oh, he's making takfir. Shut up. Yeah? Shut up. I'm going to put you in your place. Wallahi, I'm going to cancel you, bro. You are a coward. You are the definition of a walking definition of a coward. I'm telling you that straight. And I don't care what people say.
So now that you understand the tactics of presenting yourself as an authority and then severely bullying anybody who publicly disagrees with you, let's finally take a look at this video that Mohammed Hijab posted yesterday. And keep in mind, this is why more people don't call out Mohammed Hijab, because they don't want to have to deal with this sort of behavior. Just like people would fall in line with the orders of S-pubs because they didn't want to have to deal with being boycotted and all the drama that came as a result. So many people will not speak out against Mohammed Hijab, even though they see the severely problematic aspects of his da'wah. They won't say anything because they don't want to have to deal with what comes as a result. So Abdul Rahman of Knowledge North and I, we recorded a video entitled Debate Disaster, Ali Dawah vs. Apostate Prophet Reaction. Now, this debate that happened between Ali Dawah and AP was a clear manifestation of Mohammed Hijab's da'wah. Ali Dawah is clearly Mohammed Hijab's student. He's clearly trying to imitate Mohammed Hijab. Now, not only was this debate truly embarrassing, but it has over 200,000 views. The fact that this disaster of a debate happened publicly in front of so many people meant that it needed to be addressed publicly. Not only that, but this isn't a one-time thing. This is a pattern of behavior. And not only that, maybe if Ali Dawah came out and him and his team apologized, they showed some sort of remorse, some sort of humility and embarrassment, then Abdul Rahman and I wouldn't have posted that video. But instead, Ali Dawah doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down, tried to present himself as this victor, as if he did something praiseworthy. And his team, the people around him, were applauding him, talking about how glad they were that he humiliated his opponent. So therefore, Abdul Rahman and I, we posted the video. And if you listen to the video, then inshallah, you'll find that it is knowledge-based. But because we dared not fall in line with the orders of people like Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah, the bullying began. Ali Dawah immediately takes to Twitter and says, and as usual, the super Salafis, Sajid Lipum, backstabbing us again, LOL. That's why we free ourselves from them time and time again. Yeah, they free themselves from them time and time again, yet they employ the exact same tactics. Just like people within the S-pubs camp would label others as innovators. Ali Dawah labels them super Salafis. Mohammed Hijab took to Twitter saying, Dawah Muslim YouTubers who spend more time attacking other Muslim YouTubers than even the enemies of Islam should be unfollowed. It doesn't take a psychoanalyst to realize what kind of emotions they are most probably motivated by. He also said it is a clear mark of religious hypocrisy to consistently show more animosity to believers than enemies of Islam. At Sajid Lipum. Some Dawah YouTubers market themselves as mashaykh or students of knowledge and try to act as policemen for the rest of the Dawah. These same sheikhs wouldn't be able to hold down a 10-minute conversation in the Arabic language and would struggle to read Quran. So you see how low the bar is? Because Mohammed Hijab can have a 10-minute conversation in Arabic, because he might not struggle as much as other people in reading the Quran, he's more qualified to police the rest of the Dawah. Speaking of spending time attacking other Muslim YouTubers, let's take a look at this video that Mohammed Hijab posted to the SP Files YouTube channel, which is completely dedicated to refuting other Muslims. The title is Sajid Backstabs Again, Mohammed Hijab Responds. So I'm being labeled as a backstabber. It's being implied that I'm two-faced, that I act as though I'm this well-wisher with the angel wings, but in reality, I'm an evil backstabber. All right, so I want to really analyze this video because it's important, just like we understand the tactics that certain people from S-Pubs, for example, used. We also need to be able to detect when people like Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah use the same tactics.
But today we're going to be speaking about a particularly opportunistic individual who has more content against Muslims than he does against enemies of Islam. We are talking about this man who's supposedly a graduate of Medina University, Libham.
Now, it's very important to not get distracted with this confident persona that he has. He speaks with such authority that many people will just assume that he knows what he's talking about. However, if you just think a bit critically about what it is that he's saying, you'll find that he is making foundational blunders. So, number one, he's claiming that I'm opportunistic. So if somebody makes a refutation video, does that mean they're opportunistic? Does it mean that they are willing to compromise their moral integrity just to get some views? No, it doesn't apply to me, just like it doesn't apply to him. I'm not going to say that just because he jumps on an opportunity to refute somebody or debate somebody, that he's being opportunistic. Allah knows best why he does what he does. I'm not here to judge his intentions. What we can deal with is people's actions, and we can analyze those actions according to the Quran and Sunnah. Now, the second blunder he makes is that he implies that somebody having more videos against Muslims than enemies of Islam is by default problematic. Again, this was posted on SP Files, an entire channel dedicated to making videos against other Muslims. There are scholars of Islam who dedicated their lives to refuting other Muslims. That in and of itself is not necessarily a problem. What you have to do is you have to analyze those refutations with knowledge according to the Quran and Sunnah. Thirdly, he said that I am supposedly a graduate of Medina University. Now, you know what? Alhamdulillah, it's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me to live and study in the city of the Prophet ﷺ for over 8 years that I'm not fooled by some of these personalities in the West who try to present themselves as knowledgeable. I've spent over 8 years sitting with scholars, studying Islam. I was able to see for years how scholars and students of knowledge conduct themselves, how they behave, what they call to, what foundational principles they build their Islam upon. And the sad part is that I know millions of Muslims in the West will never have that opportunity. However, I do feel like it is a responsibility for me to do what I can to give people a glimpse, to help them not be misled simply due to the fact that they don't know any better. They're simply trusting people who have, for whatever reason, become popular.
These are the issues I have. Number one, the points that were made in that particular video were of a low quality. He was making subpar points one after the other.
So the reality of the specific points that he's trying to criticize and belittle will be dealt with in another video, inshallah.
The Salafi mutakallimah. It's obviously a bid to try and make himself self-importance, like he's the one who's coining terms that he can now use for other Muslim people in order to stigmatize them.
So he claims that Abdul Rahman is coining this term for self-importance and in order to stigmatize other Muslims. Meanwhile, this is being posted to a channel called SP Files, where people such as myself are being labeled super Salafis to be stigmatized. I'm not part of S-Pubs. I've never been part of S-Pubs. In fact, I have many videos on my channel against S-Pubs. Yet just because we criticized Ali Dawah, now this label is carelessly slapped upon us in order for us to be stigmatized. I don't understand how he doesn't see how everything he's saying applies to him.
So the man who was making one subpar point after the other, who Sajid had on his podcast.
His name is Abdul Rahman of Knowledge North. The least you can do is remember his name. His name is Abdul Rahman of Knowledge North.
Because he doesn't understand the language of the people of Aqeedah of the past, of the people who wrote the philosophers or whoever made the Kalimin. Doesn't understand the language, or potentially does understand it but doesn't understand the overarching point.
Mohammed Hijab doesn't even know his name. Why does he think he knows Abdul Rahman's level of knowledge? And how quick is he to speak about him on this public platform, labeling him as ignorant? We'll see the reality of these accusations, inshallah.
I'm sure Ali Dawah, spoken to myself, totally accepts that there were some off-key moments. Okay, no problem. Yes, the attitude, the general attitude and the behavior was overcooked.
MashaAllah, like I said, Mohammed Hijab, you got to give it to him. He has an extensive vocabulary. Now, what words did he choose to describe Ali Dawah's debate as? Off-key. Overcooked. Well, if you agree that there were issues, then why not just take the advice that we gave in the video? Why start personally attacking us? And mind you, again, Ali Dawah did not show any sort of remorse for his behavior. In fact, he was doing the opposite. He was gloating. And the people around him were celebrating and promoting this as some sort of victory. This happened in front of over 200,000 people. Why can't the reality of what he did be presented in public? Well, it can be, and it was.
And this shows now the lack of criticality or understanding and assessment or analysis or ability of this individual who came on Sajid's program, because they're both opportunistic. And you can see.
So he doesn't even know Abdul Rahman's name, but he's calling him opportunistic, saying that he doesn't understand. He lacks criticality, understanding and assessment, or analysis or ability. Again, we'll see, inshallah.
You can see the ghil, you can see the resentment. And even on the comments, some people are saying it's clear that you guys are doing this for emotional reasons. People are not stupid.
Now, this is pretty interesting, because if we're going to start using YouTube comments as proofs, then I'd like to share some YouTube comments myself. So here are some comments under the debate disaster video in question. I like how you sound respectful. I don't believe in Islam, but for real, this is the best I've seen on YouTube of Muslims. The only takeaway from the debate was that Islam will be wiped out with time if this is the type of people that represent it. Anyways, you guys have a lot to do in this sincere spirit, and it has to be really fast. Maybe good luck. Sajid Lipum, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for making a video like this. This has opened my eyes to so many things. I'm a Christian and was talking to a Muslim colleague of mine every week after work when we changed shifts, and he would give me YouTube sessions to watch, and I got really close to converting a couple of years ago. Then I did my own searching and came upon AP's channel with Ali, and we're proud of that. The respect you show for AP in your video and title also didn't go unnoticed. And then obviously I looked up Ali and his friends, and everyone was just agreeing with them and how they acted in debates. Seeing someone pointing out wrongs of one of his own people takes courage, especially someone like Ali. I hardly see it in Christians, too many false pastors and no one says a thing. I'll definitely make time to watch more of your videos. I'm only 1730 in, but really felt like telling you this. Your calmness just touched my heart and the way you approached it so far.
And this is what I want to say. People are not stupid. The lay audiences are not stupid. People can see that you're jealous.
So this is a really interesting tactic. Did you notice what he did there? Number one, he's claiming to know the unseen. He's claiming to know that I'm jealous. But not only that, he's implying that anybody who does not see that I'm jealous is stupid. You see, one very strong tactic that Mohammed Hijab utilizes is this idea that he knows what's going on. He's intelligent. Just trust him. If he says that I'm jealous, just believe him. And if you don't agree, then the implications are that you're stupid.
I'm really sorry to say it that way. You're inspired and motivated by jealousy. I've got good evidence for this that I can't reveal for personal reasons. I can't go into, but we know you are jealous. We know you are doing this for clout. We know that you're doing this because, let's be honest.
So he somehow knows the unseen, that I am inspired and motivated by jealousy. And he has good evidence of this. Trust him. He has good evidence of this, but he can't show it to you. But trust him.
If we look on Sajid's, I'm sorry to say, his YouTube channel and see the most viewed videos, unfortunately, he's realized the trend, which is that he's most relevant when he's attacking other Muslim people.
Did I, Mohammed Hijab? Did that happen? Were you there? Do you have knowledge of the unseen? Don't you see how this applies to you and Ali Dawah? Have you guys never displayed any sort of behavior that could be indicative of trying to get views on YouTube? Now, I wouldn't claim to know what's in your heart or what's in Ali Dawah's heart. I wouldn't claim that you guys are clout chasers, that you're compromising your deen for the sake of views, that you're opportunistic and that you would compromise your morality for popularity or money or anything like that. I would not make those accusations, because why you do what you do is between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But as for your actions, that's what we'll discuss, and discuss them according to the Quran and Sunnah.
And if we continually praise or reward him as the Muslim community for doing that, he becomes a serious liability for the da'wah.
I'm so shocked that he does not see how this applies to him. A liability for the da'wah. I really do not want to take a bunch of clips of Mohammed Hijab's behavior over the years. For him to talk about somebody else being a liability for the da'wah if they are left to continue unchecked. It's hard for me to even believe what I'm hearing. The irony is staggering. You know what the enemies of Islam say about Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah? They say, I hope that these guys continue to represent Islam. because they do such a terrible job of representing it that it makes our jobs easy.
And I get it. Yeah, some things that Ali does, or that I do, or that he will do, or that anyone does, must be called to account, and there must be internal screening, critical program. Of course, it has to, and there is that. We 100% believe in that.
Okay, alhamdulillah. What's the problem then?
In fact, Ali Dawah has came and seen us today, and we had a very prolonged conversation with him, talking about what he can improve for next time, what all these things.
Next time?
Some people within the community account him and account me, account Sabur Ahmad, account all of those du'at, speaking here from the UK perspective. But the lambasting approach where you try and do isqat, try and take somebody out, is different to try and improving a product. We know the difference. The people know the difference.
The difference is that we do it publicly because it was a public thing that happened in front of hundreds of thousands of people, and you guys do it amongst yourselves so that you can do a better job next time.
I mean, quite frankly, he's been making some videos recently, some comments, and I'll make this point as well, about YouTube ads. He said that YouTube ads, you shouldn't be using YouTube ads because it has haram things. Now YouTube has put, so look at the logic. He's saying YouTube ads have haram aspects. So therefore, you're not allowed to put YouTube ads on. Itlaqan. There's no maslaha mafsada, there's no looking at the good and bad and weighing up. Okay, that's the position. He made that clear.
This is sad. Like, how many of you believed that what he said was true? He said it with such confidence and authority. I'm sure a lot of people assume that what he said was true. What he just said is a complete and utter lie. I never said that no matter what, running YouTube ads on your YouTube channel is completely haram. You don't weigh the pros and cons. You don't approach the situation with wisdom and analyze it, but rather it's just completely haram. He says that I made this clear. I never said this ever.
It's not black and white. The way you deal with Ali Dawah, the way you deal with this person or that person, or Nauman Ali Khan, or Mufti Menku, any of the individuals that you've lambasted on your channel for gain, whether you think it's religious gain or otherwise. I think that you need to now realize that people are starting to see through you, and it's only a matter of time until you become totally irrelevant.
Well, that's another interesting accusation that I lambasted these people. But if it's not black and white, then why not give some legitimacy to those who disagree with you? You're not the only one who can post videos on YouTube criticizing other Muslims. And although you have intimidated a lot of people with these very aggressive, over-the-top tactics that you've used, many people are not falling for it anymore. Just like a day came where people stopped being so afraid of S-pubs and many of the problematic bullying tactics that they used, the same thing is happening now regarding people like yourself. Anyways, again, the brother's name is Abdurrahman of Knowledge North. Please go subscribe to his channel. Please go benefit from his videos. And inshallah, Abdurrahman will be putting out videos where he is specifically responding to some of the academic points that Mohammed Hijab brought up in this video as well. JazakumAllahukhairan. Allah knows best. May Allah guide all of us. Barakallahu feekum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.